my permissions today, MyPrivacy, and we'll talk a little bit about the lessons learned as this company has grown and gone through its iterations. Yoav?
Hi everyone, can you hear me? Upstairs. Okay, so my presentation is a little bit different because I didn't know what to prepare. I'm not gonna talk about what didn't work. Just gonna share with you stories about things I believe you should do and worked for us. So MyPermissions is a company that exists for the last 7 years or so. I joined the company 2.5 years ago. I was brought by the board that asked me to come and help after I sold my previous company to Verizon about 3 years ago. At that point, I didn't want to join anything full-time, but things happened and I joined MyPermissions, full-time CEO, and time was a bit difficult. The company went through some changes and I have to rebuild everything from scratch. So I decided very early that I need to really do dramatic changes. I replaced the entire team. No one in the company today was in the company before I joined it. And I had to fight with some financial issues. And eventually, what's more exciting for me is that after some time in the company, I decided to build a much bigger product, which we call MyPrivacy. And it takes MyPermissions, our previous product, and puts it into this suite we call MyPrivacy. MyPrivacy is a suite of tools to help consumers get better protection and awareness over their personal information with easy-to-use tools like VPN, password manager, photo vault, and etc. That's what we're building in the last year or so. And when I joined the company, I immediately understood that we're not going to raise money. And I have to put all of my focus in increasing the revenues. I knew that, first of all, it's a waste of time to run after VCs and trying raising money, and also that we should be grown up after a few years in the market and we have to earn our own money. And therefore, I started to do many things and initiatives towards generating more revenues and more revenue streams. So I'm a very active mentor, as you just mentioned, and many times I see startups coming to me and think like a startup. They don't have a business model. They start with something that, I don't know, no one is paying for. And for me, it's a big mistake. You have to think as a business. It means you sell something to someone who believes that there's value in what you're doing and is willing to pay for it. I joined the company and the product was completely free. I asked everyone, why is it free? They told me no one will pay for it. I asked people in the company to try something and charge for the product. And then we started making some revenues, and then it grew, and all the metrics grew. The retention, everything, the engagement in the app was much better. So I don't know why startups are so afraid of taking money, but I will talk about it later. But if you're not taking money, it's A, wrong, and second, if people are not willing to pay, it means that they don't believe you bring value and you're nice to have, and no one wants to be nice to have. So I believe that a startup should, first of all, think like a business. If you can raise money, it's okay, it's great, do it. But start and think, first of all, how you can make this company profitable. So we became, like when I joined the company, the company was losing tens of thousands of dollars a month. Half a year later, we became cash flow positive. And for the last 2 years, we're profitable and we saved money. and now we more than doubled the team with the money that we saved. So the company is very stable, and we have like good employees, and we have work-life balance, amazingly. So yeah, we don't have this, we don't have tomorrow if we're not staying in the company until, I don't know, 10 p.m. or something. Everything is stable. We can't grow too aggressively or scale too aggressively because we exist and operate only from our revenues. But on the other hand, we have a strong base and something we can continue with like for years at the same pace. Now we are building something that is much, much, much bigger. The opportunities are bigger. Maybe also the challenges are bigger, but we believe it's the right time, and we're growing. So I touched it. So like once again, startups always afraid of taking money. No, we're still a startup, we're still early, we're still young. I don't believe in it. So don't be afraid. If you are afraid of taking money, it means that you're not sure that you're doing the right thing or that your startup worth anything. And whatever you think about yourself, your customer will think about you. So act like it. I was speaking about it. So my next point is clarity is superpower, and it's something that in the last year I discovered and realized many times. So I want to give you one example of it. We released a very, very bad version of MyPrivacy about a year ago. We just wanted to see that everything works. Functionally, but we didn't touch the user experience and all the important things of the app. So we released something to the app stores and didn't even push it. No one knew about it. It was just hiding there between many, many apps. And once we released it and didn't touch it again, we started working on the next version. We worked for half a year about the user experience and all the messaging and everything. And in the meantime, several things happened in the market, and privacy all of a sudden became a hot market because of Facebook and Cambridge Analytica and GDPR and things like that. And I had an assumption that that's the best timing to provide a product like MyPrivacy, which is one address for anything privacy, and that's how I believe people will consume privacy, if at all. And I came to my VP marketing one morning. He thought I'd gone crazy, and I told him, listen, I want to make a campaign for the old app, the one that we released about a year ago, that I wouldn't use. It's a shitty app, but let's make an experiment. And I built him a challenge with a catchy name, the 10, 50, 100, 500, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 challenge, which means I want you to focus on bringing 50 downloads in 10 days, 100 downloads in 15 days, 500 downloads in 100 days, and so on and so forth. You have $5,000 for marketing, for campaigns. I wrote it on the wall. Don't do anything else. Just do this experiment. Obviously, he told me, listen, downloads is not the most important thing and everything, and I agreed, it's not the most important thing, but I wanted to test my assumptions, and that's the first thing I could have done. It's the easiest one to create a momentum. I told him, forget about everything. I wrote it on the wall in front of his eyes and started. So after a month, we should have had about 100 downloads a day based on my challenge. And all of a sudden, we see 2,000 downloads a day. The next day, we see 3,000. The next day, 4,000. And the next day, 5,000. And all of a sudden, we have a pace of 150,000 downloads a month for a shitty app. And what's even more crazy is that the engagement and the retention were like crazy compared to any app in our category. So the company got excited, everyone got excited. We have real users using our shitty product, and we got like many reviews, and people like, we were waiting for such an app, and things that were very encouraging. And we could have done it even earlier, but until it was written on the wall in front of his eyes, nothing really happened. And once it's there, once you see it very clear what you want until when you want it, so it doesn't really happen. And clarity gives real power to you and to your team, and everyone in the company knows where we're going and what we're doing, and we keep changing it. So if you'll come to our office today, like it's like full of notes, we are looking for this until that. So my advice to you is decide what you want, decide when you want it, put it on the wall, and then things happen like magic, really. I don't have any good, reasonable way to explain it. It just happened. Once it's on the wall, I have many other examples for other things, but that's my best advice to you. I'm good. Questions?
Are you still confident with your decision not to go to VCs? Because it sounds like it limited your growth.
So the question was if I'm confident with my decision not going to VCs. So first of all, I couldn't raise money. So if I was wasting my time, which is a very expensive resource, running after VCs with no chance to raise money, the company was probably dead. Now we are operating from revenues. We more than doubled the revenues in the last year. So I'm pretty confident with my decision.
Yeah, but today, why wouldn't you do it today?
It's a bit complicated. We're like a unique company. We exist for 7 years, and there were changes, and we are now in a place where we are about to launch our new app. I believe that VCs would wait to see some numbers, so we're close, and we don't really need their money to launch anything or to market it at first, so maybe later for scale.
So you said that the company was funded before you came. So did they raise any money? So or
The company raised money,
Okay.
but I never had the chance to use it. Like everything
so
was.
from your point of view, you are a bootstrap.
Yeah, I'm a bootstrap.
From your point of view, okay.
Yeah.
So and about the shitty app that you call it, if there was retention and engagement and everything, what was so shitty about it?
No, it's just not good enough. I don't know why people are using it, but I wouldn't use it.
You still don't know why they
No, I mean, the concept is right. It's the same concept, but like the app, how it looks, how it react and everything, many things, are broken there. So it's not good enough. It's not good enough. And I'm not looking for perfect.
So I guess the problem is so grave that people are using even UI UX, which is shitty, to
Probably.
solve the problem.
Probably.
One last question.
One last question.
Hi. So you mentioned that the concept was right, and you mentioned about the problem maybe that it was great. My question is, how did you validate the need for the product as a B2C company? Because it sounds to me like it's not too obvious. You see what I'm saying?
Not sure.
How did you validate the need? The fact that people are actually want to use your product before developing it, even though I understand that you joined the company a bit later.
Yeah, so the company is active in the privacy field for consumers for several years. And with my permissions, we did see some traction. So obviously there's a need. for privacy tools. And we also see other apps like VPNs and Photo Vault and Uplogs and things like that that have millions of downloads of users, millions of users and downloads. So the need is clear. Just the concept of a suite wasn't very clear if it's going to work or not. But I learned to trust my gut feeling and go with it. And if it's not the right way, we'll fix later.
Will you stick around afterwards to take more questions?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.